Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. This is Tuesday, August 21st, and we had a really strong sell-off today. It was I'm sure it was I would call this a trap type day because they started, what we've been seeing every day is that, like this back over here, prices start off selling off and then they rally. And today we had just the opposite. We rallied, or we started off to the upside, and then prices sold off, and we've been selling off hard all day. We haven't had a sell-off like this in a while, to be honest, and my guess is it caught a lot of people off guard because what's been working is to look to buy support whenever you got a chance, and you can see that all across here. Buy support, market rallies, buy support, market rallies, buy support, market rallies, and buy support, market rallies. Coming down, you buy support, market rallies. But then you get today, and if you tried buying support today, you were in trouble. And really, I could have seen you getting sucked in maybe here or here. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit and tell you what happened to me there and there. And then, but from that point on, it was very evident this is a strong sell-off. Really, after this leg down, and we couldn't make those highs, and we had this. And then of course, you had this trend line coming right off these couple of bars there, and then it's pretty evident what's going on the rest of the way down. And once you realize you're in a downtrend like this, you've got to sell every pullback to the EMA of the trend line, and that's really all these are, all the way down. Fairly simple. You got this nice little channel. This is kind of like a spike. We spiked down and then went into this channel. It's like a spiking channel, and I wasn't sure this morning if we weren't in a spiking channel to the upside. But if you drew your first couple of trend lines off those first few swings, there's your trend line. You got your break right here, and then two nice little measured legs up. There's leg one, and then there's leg two. And so you got perfect price action trading rules. But I wasn't 100% sure we didn't have this little channel maybe right up through here, like so. So it could have been, I wasn't 100% sure we didn't have a spiking channel like that right there, and that's what kind of threw me off guard right here, because I was thinking we did have a little spiking channel and then we had a break. But now after the fact, it's pretty evident that my first call was right, that we had this trend line, we had a break, and then two legs up to a new high, and then the sell-off. But let's talk about the trades. Hopefully that sets it up for you for for the day. Excuse me, I'm still struggling with this cough, and I get to talking a little bit. Ever since I came back from Brazil, I brought back something that I just cannot get rid of, a sinus issue, and I think it's the weather a little bit too. But I'm getting better, but I'm still not 100%. If I get to talking a lot, my throat gets to bother me. So, but anyway, let's talk about the trades. We had the trend line coming up. You can see off those first couple of swings, that was my first thought of the day, and I should have listened. I should have stuck with that, because that was the right call. It generally is the first couple of swings, and when we touched here again to the tick, that kind of reconfirmed it. We had our first break here, and it's a failed second entry short at a strong support, which was resistance. It turned into a second entry long, and look at that nice little move up. So this was a great entry right here. Even if you didn't have the trend line right, there was no reason not to find this little double bottom, the little failed second entry short that turned into a second entry long. And then same thing right here. You had another pullback to test the breakout area, second entry long, and this one took a little longer to work out, and then we started selling off. But there was no really reason to enter right in here short. And you really didn't want to enter long because of all these overlapping bars. There's no long setup really until right here maybe, because then you got a double bottom on this area right here, very similar to over here. But you got to be aware that you got this trend line break possibly. But the big thing that I will point out is The 8:30 open occurred, let me find the bar, it occurred right in here somewhere, right there. Now here's the close from yesterday, right in here. So when the prices open here, that's a gap. So you got to be thinking, we got a gap, and generally those gaps get filled. And so that was another clue to maybe be thinking short. And you see we're still selling off over here. It's well after 2 o'clock, so I'm not interested in taking any more trades. But there's been no break of this trend line, nothing. So, we may trade down right into the close. We'll just have to see what happens. We'll come back and look at that. But anyway, you should have been thinking these gaps almost always get filled, and that's a gap. And this was the close right in here from yesterday. So when you're opening right in here, then you got a gap here, and we just traded higher. And so you got to be thinking prices may come back and fill that gap and then head higher. And that's what I really thought was going to happen, but we've just continued to sell off. Now that's not a, if that's an overnight low, that's not a huge sell off after filling the gap. But when you take this whole move into account here, that's a pretty strong sell off. And this is a pretty tight channel. And you can see where we bounced every time off the lows of that channel. So we'll probably reach this channel low again before we bounce again. And so you could have been thinking long here, but there's not a good setup. You got all these overlapping bars. So this is actually a two-legged move back to the EMA. Hopefully you can see that. We made a new low. First leg up, pull back, second leg up. We made a double top on top of that. There's not a lot of room to scalp out before this bottom, but you got to be thinking that's leg one, so we're probably going to get another leg equal to that. At the very least, you should be thinking, hey, we're probably going to come back and test this low right here, which is where I had this, and that was the more important low in my opinion because we made a double bottom there at the EMA. So this is what I was thinking. I was thinking short here and reverse long right here, and because I've been buying this support almost every day, and it's been easy scalps, easy trades, and usually it allows me to catch the bottom too. Well, I bought right here today, and you can see what happened. I actually bought I just reversed. I went short right here and reversed back into a long right here, thinking I'd scalp both ways, and you see what happened to me right here. I think I was long right here at one tick below this larger bar right here, and you see it went one tick in my favor twice, and so I took a couple of ticks loss right there. When we went below this bar, I exited right there, so I took a couple of ticks loss on that trade. Probably should have reversed into a short, but a lot of times reversing is the worst thing you can do, and it just doesn't normally work out. So usually better off just to exit a trade if you're wrong. So I just exited there. Lost a couple of ticks, but I was still in good shape because I had these two trades in my favor over here. But I came down here to this next, and I really thought we were going to bounce here, so I bought it blindly again. And this is a good example of why it doesn't pay to buy blindly or sell blindly, because it can cost you. And I got caught long again right in here. Actually, I had this drawn right there is where so I went long right here, got a couple of ticks to my favor, and then we ended with this red doji, and I said to heck with it and exited, and I think I exited at break even on that one. So trying to pick the lows twice, I got burned, and then we made this double top, then I'm thinking short. After that big move down, you really need to, and we can't even get back to the EMA hardly, much less the trend line, which I'd kind of drawn it off these first two bars. And so I'm thinking, hey, this is looking like a sell-off now. And so I got short here, and then you had another chance to get short here. This is another two-legged pull back to the EMA. It's a breakout pull back short. A lot of reasons to be thinking short. And then we got another chance. This one was a little more iffy because we had all these overlapping bars. But what you got to figure is we're trying to get below this area right here, and each time we're making lower highs and lower lows, or we're making lower highs, we're not making lower lows really. But you can see we're making lower highs, the closes are getting lower, or see these closes are below those, these closes are below those. That's usually a good sign. We can't get back, nothing's closing above the EMA, the EMA's holding. You definitely should have had your trend line off these first couple of swings here now, and we're testing that again. So if you didn't take this one, I was a little, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I had a hard time taking that one, but I forced myself into that trade and it worked out. And if you missed it there, you could have entered back in here because it was a breakout pullback short, but the better entry was right here because we didn't go much further than we pulled back, touched the trend line, and then then we had a really nice move down here right here, and it was pretty evident that we were, you know, this was a strong downtrend for sure right here. And let me show you this, and this is what you had to be thinking, hey, you know, maybe this is leg one, maybe even this is leg one, but I was thinking this was leg one, and then you come and you measure that, and then there's leg two. Maybe that's it right there. And you come and you measure that, and then there's leg two. And really probably should, since that's the low, that should be the high. So, and you see that's about exactly where we got to. And then now my guess is leg three is going to be real similar, and you can see that we're back down here off the trend channel, and so it's kind of a nice little three-legged push down. So you got to use that, and even if you didn't use that one here, here's your leg right here, and a little correction back to the EMA trend line. There's your other leg, same thing. So you can often get these legs in the same way, but you really got to pay attention to those because that's generally your target, and you know, if the market's trending, that generally hits the targets. And you can see we've just gone right through all of the support all the way down. You know, a lot of times we don't even get hesitation there. That's pretty strong support right there, and we just went right through it. That's pretty, you know, then you got nice support right here, and we did bounce there a little bit, but not much, and you go right on through it. So you don't want to be buying on a day like this. I learned the hard way twice, and luckily it didn't cost me a lot of money, but it cost me some of my money. And then, you know, then I get wise and I start saying, hey, I better stick with the trend, and then it's easy pickings all the way down through here. But I'm going to tell you, it was still hard to go short here every time for me because, you know, it's been, and that's what the market does. It lulls you to sleep and it surprises you. And, you know, it even lulled me to sleep and surprised me because every time we got around one of these support areas, I really wanted to buy. But, you know, after getting burned twice, I told myself, hey, you know, you have to force yourself. Your mind has to be stronger than your will. And I don't know how to describe that any better than that, but your mind is going to play tricks on you. But you got to be able to tell yourself, no, I'm following the rules. And the rules say, this is a downtrend. I can only sell pullbacks to the EMA and trend line. And, you know, I got to be looking for reasons to get short, which are double tops, breakout pullback shorts, pullbacks to the EMA and the trend line. That's what you got to be looking for. That's the only kind of trade you can take. And you can see we had breakout pullback shorts all down through here. We had pullbacks to the EMA and the trend line, and they were all great trades. But what the market does is it you know, it fools you, and you thinking every time we make a low, we're done for the day, and hey, now the rally is going to start. But this is a downtrend day, and until we get a break of the trend line and then a retest of the low, I wouldn't be looking for anything but shorts. And can the market bounce out of here and take off? Yeah, but after a sell-off like this, I would expect a break of the trend line and then a retest of the lows before we went low, before we went higher. But this market's been crazy lately, and we finally got some volume today, and unfortunately it's all to the downside. And I say unfortunately, you know, we really don't care which way the market's going. All we care is if it goes up. But I hate to see the market sell off, but I'm surprised we've rallied as hard as we have lately. But really what's going on today, if you kind of look around, Here's something else, and usually you can look to the dollar for direction, and I was really surprised when I went over and looked, and the dollar was selling off too. So there's some news out there that they're got come to some agreement in Europe about straightening out their problems, and so a lot of people are probably pulling their money out of the U.S. markets. It's kind of a flight to safety kind of deal, and tomorrow it could all change, and it all come pouring back, and everything go pouring out over there. So don't ever trade on that kind of thing. But generally, you can you can get a good idea of what's going on by following the dollar. And if the dollar's selling off, normally you need to be buying, and if the dollar's climbing, normally you need to be looking to sell the markets. And but that wasn't the case today. They're all selling off in gold. The metals are climbing, oil's climbing. So it could be some of the issues with Israel. Who knows? We don't really care. All we care is that the market is going down. And so when it's going down, we're looking for reasons to sell. When it's going up, we're looking for reasons to buy. Again, we got a little trend going up. So what are we looking for? We're looking for pullbacks to the EMA, the trend line, double bottoms, and breakout pullback longs and that kind of stuff. And then when we're headed down, we just reverse that. So we're in about 16 minutes, but all of these are just pullbacks to the trend line or the EMA. And notice, on a real strong day like this, you don't need a second entry. There are some second entries in here, but a breakout pullback shorts are good trades. Any pullback to the EMA trend line, as you can see, every time we've touched that trend line, look where all the good trades, just about all the good trades generate right off that trend line. Your best moves are off that trend line or off that EMA, and that's generally what you're looking for. And then every time we hit the low side, and to find this, all I did was clone this line and drag it down just like so, and you see it fits well. And so that's every time we see prices, if you're going to counter trend trade, this is where you want to do it. But like I said, it's dangerous because you may not get your 4 ticks. You may not scalp out. Most of the time you can, but I don't, I think you're better off to wait for prices to come back and get on with the trend, because you can look in here. You can be wrong or early in here, and you still get a good trade. If you're a little bit early, it doesn't kill you. But if you're early on one of these, prices don't come back a lot of times. So, don't counter trend trade is what I'm saying. When a day like this, you better be sticking with the trend and looking for reasons to get on with the trend, and you'll be a lot better off. So, but anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. There were quite a few entries today. One of the best trading days we've had in a while. If you weren't fighting the trend all the way down, which even myself, I wanted to buy every one of these supports down through here, and I did it twice and got burned, and luckily I got out without a whole lot of damage to my account or my day by getting out. And then suddenly I decided to go with the trend, and then it's easy pickings all day long. Every one of these trades were easy trades, and hopefully you saw these. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.